For someone that's been like holding on to their idea for a while, or they might feel stuck or not knowing when to start, what would you say to them?
I get this question a lot. And I think the simplest thing that your listeners or anyone who has an idea can do is very simply take the next step. Figure out what is just the tiniest next step that I need to take to move my idea forward. It doesn't have to be the end goal. It doesn't have to be the big final vision. I think a lot of people get stuck when they think, well, I have to do all these things. But if you reduce it down to just like literally like what's the one tiniest next thing that I can do to move this forward, people usually have an answer to that question. And it's usually not as complicated as they made it up in their head. And so I really encourage people to take the next step, whatever that might be for them. It might be sharing your idea with a roommate or a colleague or a friend. Just say, hey, what do you think about this? It might be sending an email to somebody or reaching out over Twitter or posting something on Twitter. It might be just publishing the website. There is a myth. I think there's this myth that exists where I certainly experienced this as a budding entrepreneur, looking up to companies that were established and founders that started those companies, thinking, wow, they just woke up one day and had the idea and it just took off just like that. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm sure many of your guests have said this. It's like, no, like anybody who's gone through this and got something to a level of success there's a whole path of failures that preceded it. And I really encourage people to get something out into the world, even if it's not the big idea, because even the small things build on themselves. And, I worked on 4 or 5 ideas or companies before Airbnb. Most people never heard of them because they never turned into anything. But each one of those things built on top of the one before it. And so by the time Airbnb came around, I was in a much different place and it was just starting from scratch. Said another way, nobody in their right mind would run a marathon without training. Nobody wakes up in the morning and all of a sudden runs 26 and change miles. You have to train for it. And so I encourage people to get in the gym of entrepreneurship and just take the tiniest next step to bring ideas to life.
Hey Foundr fam, did you love this interview? Well, if you did, then make sure to subscribe. We're dropping new interviews every single week and we can't wait for you to join the journey. All right, I'll see you soon.